Greetings, Ian from RTO here. Hope you're all well. Welcome to another Battle of the Debuts. And at the moment we are, during the month of May, we are going to do live album debuts. And today I am pitching up two great guitarists against each other. One being Jimmy Page and the other being Ritchie Blackmore. And the bands we're going to be looking at today are Led Zeppelin against Rainbow in their live album battle. So up first today, because they released first, is Led Zeppelin, a legendary band, of course. We don't have to go into the history of this band, we all know it if we love them. Jimmy Page, John Paul Jones, Robert Plant and John Bonham, of course. Great live act. And their first live album came out on the 22nd of October 1976, and it is called The Song Remains the Same, and it was a concert film as well. It was actually recorded though in 1973 between the 27th and 29th of July in New York at Madison Square Gardens. So, first track on this live album from Led Zeppelin 4, Rock and Roll. It's one of those tracks, if I never hear it again I won't get upset. It's overplayed, everybody seems to play it, but the start of this is absolutely brilliant by John Bonham. Excellent track. Then track 2 is a track of Led Zepp 3, and it's Celebration Day. I like that track. I like the it's better live than it is in the studio actually. I think it's a very good version. Next up, from the Houses of the Holy album, The Song Remains the Same. Like that song. Love the real funky guitar from Jimmy on that, and again it sounds really good live. Then another track from Houses of the Holy, because this was what the album was at the time. It's the Rain song, the one that's always forgotten about. It's a great version. This is. It's a little bit longer than the studio version, but it's pretty good. Then side 2 is taken up by Dazed and Confused. Now this is where I have an issue. Great song, but I don't like the live version. It seems to go on. So, I mean, it's a cover of a J. Combs song, of course, we all know that. But I don't want to hear endless hours of Jimmy Page twiddling about. I know a lot of people go, what? I said, it doesn't spoil, it spoils the thing. I love long tracks, but I don't like it when it's just guitar solos and that. Yeah, I think they could have put more tracks on the original than that. Okay, side 3, which because it's a double album, is a great track again from Houses of Holy, one of my favourite tracks. No Quarter. It's John Paul Jones' masterpiece. Then we get, of course, from Led Zeppelin 4, Stairway to Heaven. I don't know if I like the live version. I mean, it's a track that's overplayed. I don't think this version is not the best live version. I've got better live versions than that. Side 4 is a very long version of Moby Dick. Not a great lover of huge drum solos, but this is John Bonham. And then the album ends with A Whole Lot of Love, which sort of goes on a little bit. And I don't think you can. I've never thought they've captured the studio version of this, because it's quite, especially that middle bit with the drums. I never have really been able to capture that. This album, I do like it, don't get me wrong. I think this is an absolute belting album. The only thing I could say about the original version is the sound quality. But of course, in 2007, it was remastered, and also added to it were Black Dog, Over the Hills Far Away, Misty Mountain Hot, Since I've Been Loving You, and The Ocean. So you get the whole thing now. You get Heartbreaker on there as well. You know, that's the thing about CDs. You can get more into it. But when they redone it, it sounds a lot better. And to be quite honest, now I do only play the remaster, and it still sounds brilliant. It's just a great album. So that's what I thought of it. So what did the old critics think? Upon its release, the album was released with some mixed reviews, of number of critics considering to be overproduced, lumbering. Indeed, the band members themselves have since expressed a lack of fondness for the recording. Jimmy has admitted that the end project was not their best representation as Led Zeppelin as a live band. And I totally agree with Jimmy, because some of their other live stuff is even better. But they did redeem themselves when Jimmy remixed it. I can understand why he wanted to remix this. Didn't do too bad in chart wise. Australia got to number 8, Canada number 8, number 6 in Japan, number 6 in New Zealand, number 1 here in the UK, number 2 in America, and 16 in Germany. So it went down well with the fans. Picked up a few discs in its travels. 4 times platinum in America, platinum here, 3 times platinum in New Zealand, gold in Germany and France. So let's have a look at the nuts and bolts of The Song Remains the Same. Song quality, I can't knock the songs on here. They are all great songs, even the 2 that everyone seems to play. So I'm going to give this a 5 out of 5. Production, yeah, that's what lets it down, the production on the original. I'm not talking about the remix, because I do love the remix and it is far better, but we're talking about the original, and the production was not very good. And as Jimmy says now, if Jimmy says he wasn't happy with the production, it didn't represent Led Zeppelin, you know, hats off to him. He could have said, oh, this was the best thing we ever did, but no, Jimmy is quite honest. So I'm going to give that a 3 out of 5. Reception went down a storm, still does today. It's still on show, people are still buying it, which is great. So I'm going to give that a 5 out of 5 as well. Cover design, I think they could have done a bit better cover than that. You know, this picture in the middle should have been a little. There should have been more of the picture in the middle than the black. Should have just made that a little bit bigger, made the writing a little bit more clearer, and you'd have had a really good cover. So I'm only going to give that a 3 out of 5 for Led Zeppelin. The Song Remains the Same gives us a total of 16 out of 20. So let's move on to Rainbow. Again, we don't have to say too much about Rainbow. Put together by Richie Blackmore when he left Deep Purple. Made his first album with all the Elf except the guitarist. Then he fired everybody like he normally does, and then put together this great band, which to me has always been the best lineup of Rainbow. And that's Richie Blackmore, Ronnie James Dio, Tony Carey, Jimmy Bain and Cozy Powell. So their first live album is On Stage, and it was recorded during several German and Japanese dates in late '76 during the Rainbow Rising World Tour. It was released in 1977. So it opens up with Kill the King. Now, Kill the King, of course, is not a track. It was a new track. It didn't appear till Long Live Rock and Roll. That's a great track. I love Kill the King. Then we have a medley, Man on the Silver Mountain. Then you get that little blues that do 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 do, which Richie Blackmore seems to play on everything live somewhere in a concert. Doesn't matter if it's Deep Purple, Blackmore's Night, Rainbow, it always comes up. And then you get a little bit of Starstruck, which is a great track, real good rocker, and it really sounds better live. Side 2 is taking up the whole of the side with Catch the Rainbow. Yeah, love the song, but it's just too long on here. Again, twiddly bits from Richie. Yeah, but that was the thing. Side 3 is taken up by a Deep Purple cover. The whole of the side is Mistreated. Did we really want a Deep Purple song on a Rainbow album? No. There are far better songs that appeared on another album that was came out later. I'll go into reasons why. Side 4 is 16th Century Greensleeves off the debut album, and I love that track. It's about the right track thing as well. It's a great version. Ronnie's on fire up. That's one thing about Ronnie. He even sings Mistreated brilliantly. It's just great. And the album ends with the Yardbirds cover. Still I'm sad. Great version of it, but could they have put other tracks on the album? Really good album, but there are some flaws. As I said, do we need Mistreated? Probably not. We could have had Stargazer on. And did we need Mistreated on it? Not really. We had to wait till 1990 until we got the Live in Germany album to have them tracks. But it's still a good album because you get Man on the Silver Mountain. Although Catch the Rainbow goes on a bit, it's still, take out all the nonsense, the actual track is brilliant live. Best lineup of Rainbow ever in my books. And of course it was produced by Martin Birch, and the lineup had been set just to get it onto the album. So that's the only flaws that I've got, that there's no Stargazer on it and it's not the right order. But we got the definitive of this band in 1990 with Live in Germany. So what did the old critics say? Jeff Ginsberg of AllMusic writes, on stage is full of great songs and playing, but somehow it lacks some of the excitement that existed in them early Richie Blackmore concerts. The production is kind of flat. That doesn't change the fact that it's some of the great stuff found on here nowhere else, as the long version of Mistreated from Deep Purple. The song Kill the King appeared on this album long before the studio album, which is pretty right. So there's not much written about it. Professional star ratings, AllMusic gave it 2 and Rolling Stone unfavourable, but forget them. Let's see what the fans thought. We got to number 7 in the UK, only 65 on the US. Number 6 in Japan, they love Richie Blackmore. Certifications. Got silver here in the UK and gold in Japan. So let's have a look at the nuts and bolts of On Stage. Song quality. again, 5 out of 5 because they're just great songs from this band. Production, I don't think it's flat. I think some people that say about, you know, that you've got to remember this was 1976, 77 when they recorded this. It hasn't got the technology as I have today. But when you've got Martin Birch producing it, he did make a good job of it. And I like it. So I'm going to give that 4 out of 5. Reception went down well here in the UK and in Japan. The Americans didn't quite take to it. So I'm going to give that a 4 out of 5. Cover design. I love this cover to a certain extent. I think the white should have been changed to a black. In all honesty, it'll look better on a black than white. So for that reason, I shall give it a 4 out of 5. So for Rainbow on Stage, we have a total of 17 out of 20. So just 1 point in it today. Both albums are great. I love both of them, but they have got flaws, as I've said. So, whole sides of albums of twiddly bits. Yeah. On Stage has been spliced about again. They've both been sort of hacked to bits, and you had to wait till remastered and other albums. But when it comes down to even with the flaws, I love these two albums. You know, up until a certain stage, this was the only live stuff you got of these bands for a long time. But when it comes down to it, I can't split these up. I really can't. And I don't want to, actually. There's not one better than the other. So I'm just going to declare a draw today. But it's over to you now. You're deciding this one. I'm sitting on the fence because I can't. Because I love both bands. So be interested in how you guys feel. You know how we do it. The community. There's the poll in the community. There'll be a poll on the live stream tonight. Or if you watch it on Facebook or Twitter, just put your responses in the comments. And then next week, Mastermind Dave will collate all the figures and give me the winner before we go on air for next week's live stream, which is a day earlier, so you've got a less day, and you'll find out exactly why we're doing the live stream early next week on tonight's live stream. So get your thinking caps on, and let's see if there is going to be a clear winner here. I think there will be a winner, I think, but I think it'll be a very close run thing. Okay, that's all for this battle. We got one more live battle next week, and it's a great one. It's all I'm going to say is it's a prog live battle. Okay, I'll be back later, and it's pick and mix, and today we're going to have a trip down memory lane. And today we're going to look at the top 10 singles for this day in 1987. So join me for that. Bye for now.